to take back control of our economy and become a sovereign, self-reliant, and stronger nation, to stare down American economic aggression and better stand on our own 2 feet, to bring home Canada's promise that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful home on a safe street, protected by solid borders and brave troops under a proud flag. That's our mission. But today I'd like to begin by congratulating, I should begin by wishing Mr. Trudeau a happy retirement and all the best to his family, and congratulating Mr. Trudeau's economic advisor, Mark Carney, on becoming Prime Minister only 3 months after he moved his headquarters out of Canada to New York, moving jobs away from Canada. Today, Liberals are trying to trick Canadians into electing them for a 4th term in power, with a cabinet that is 87% the same as Trudeau's cabinet. 100% of today's Liberal cabinet were in Justin Trudeau's Liberal caucus. These same Liberal MPs voted to hike the carbon tax, double the debt, double food bank lineups, and double housing costs. The same Liberals all supported blocking pipelines, LNG plants, and passing the anti-energy law C-69 that has made Canada even more reliant on the U.S. Stephen Guilbeault, for example, the radical anti-development activist twice arrested for climbing buildings illegally to block resource projects, a self-described, and I quote, socialist, has been promoted to be the minister responsible for all of Quebec, but also responsible, according to Mr. Carney, for nature. That means nothing will get built anywhere in Canada because he will be standing in the way. Meanwhile, all of Trudeau's Liberal advisors, Gerald Butts and Tom Pitfield, are now top Carney advisors. They were in attendance today, not even hiding that they're still the ones running the show. The same people who ran Justin Trudeau are now running Mark Carney. Carney's chief of staff, his Liberal chief of staff, is a former Trudeau minister forced to resign for many scandals, including lying about moving Paul Bernardo out of a maximum security prison. You see, Mark Carney thinks Canadians are stupid. He thinks that a little bit of cosmetic surgery will allow the Liberals to disguise who they are and make people forget what they did for 10 years in order to elect them to a 4th Liberal term. But it's the same Liberal gang, with the same Liberal agenda, the same Liberal results, and the same Liberal promises of the last 10 years. Only they want you to be fooled, and they want to take 4 terms. Carbon tax Carney will try later today to pull another fast one. This one's going to be very sneaky, very sneaky. I call it the carbon tax con job. I told you this was going to happen, by the way. Don't say I didn't warn you. He's going to hide the consumer carbon tax for 60 days. And if he's reelected, he'll bring it back bigger than ever with no rebate. Let's be clear. He says that the carbon tax he intends to bring in after the election will be a, quote, shadow carbon tax. And we know that he loves carbon taxes because he publicly advised Trudeau over the last 5 years to raise the taxes even more. But here's what I've got. This is the Liberal carbon tax law. This law cannot be eliminated unless Parliament resumes to vote it down. Mr. Carney could have asked Trudeau to do that months ago. Mr. Carney could have reconvened Parliament today to vote this law down, but he won't. He will keep the carbon tax law in place even while he temporarily hides the carbon tax from the gas pump for 60 days leading up to the election. And after that election, if God forbid he were reelected, there would be a bigger carbon tax than ever before, because Carney would no longer need your vote, but he'd still need your money. Canadians know that over 10 years, the Trudeau-Carney Liberals doubled the debt, doubled housing costs, and doubled food bank lineups. They've made us weak facing the Americans. Giving the Liberals a fourth term will not change any of that. If you cannot afford food or a home after 3 terms of Liberals, nothing will change after 4. If you're worried Canada is drowning in debt and taxes after 3 terms of these Liberals, that will not change after a 4th term. If you're afraid of crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder after 3 terms of these Liberals, nothing will change after the 4th term. If you are a senior choosing between heating and eating after 3 terms of Liberals, nothing will change after a 4th term. And if you're worried that Canada can't get anything built and that our economy has become helpless and dependent on the Americans after 3 terms of the Liberals, that will not change after a 4th term. And it certainly will not change with a heavily conflicted Prime Minister who already sold out Canada to move his headquarters to the U.S. only days after President Trump threatened tariffs to steal our jobs.